My question is this, is that all along our career paths, they've always stressed the importance of special duty. With EPME entering into the transition of EPME Next, in your opinion, do you believe that will lessen the importance of a special duty as an instructor in EPME?
And is this for all of the chiefs or one or two?
I would like to direct it primarily at Chief McCoy. I met you a couple of years ago as a technical sergeant, and I asked you the career path to chief, and you said simply, make master sergeant.
Obviously, you took my advice.
I did. But then you also stressed the importance of special duty and making sure that we got our EPME accomplished.
So what is your question?
The question is, with the EPME Next, the new transformation that enlisted PME is going to take, do you believe it will lessen the importance of becoming an EPME instructor?
Oh, heavens no. That's a short answer to your question, but no, I still firmly believe, and I tell this to all the new Master Sergeant selects, that it's important that you move out of your career area and do some things like being a first sergeant, being an EME instructor, being a tech school instructor, or even being a recruiter, because it gets you out of the so-called stovepipe feelings that you have within your own career field. So no, and as far as the new EME is concerned, what little I do know about it, it's not going to hurt anything. I think it's just going to improve it, and it's going to make it better. So, to answer your question, no, I'm still very strong about the feelings that you have towards, or the feelings I have for special duty as an instructor in the PME world.
Thank you, Chief. Next question, please.
Good morning, Chiefs. I'm Airman First Class Nathan Dorego from Fort Meade, Maryland. My question is directed to Chief Gaylor and Chief McKinley. Could each of you talk about what were the single greatest challenges to you as Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force? Because over the years, as the Air Force has grown and evolved, I'm sure the challenges that are faced by a Chief Master Sergeant in the Air Force have also changed and evolved. I was wondering if you could talk about those challenges. Thank you.
In 1977, the challenges were quite obvious and clearly defined. If I recall, there were four, in no particular order. Utilization of women. We were increasing the number of women in the force, and we were quite sure how to use them and what career fields could they serve, etc. The racial pot was turbulent. There was incidents at Travis and Minot, Goose Bay, Labrador, that indicated that we had not totally solved the racial tension. Some of the black airmen were telling me when I would meet with them that they were hearing all about equal opportunity, but they weren't seeing it. They weren't seeing it happen, and so there was considerable concern in that area. The image of the military was at an all-time low. Following the Vietnam War, the image of the military plummeted. Those who were serving at the time were even hesitant to wear a uniform out into a public forum. And the third was drugs and alcohol abuse. People felt stressed, they had issues, and they were turning to various drugs and alcohol. So there were some very clear defined issues, any one of which would have kept us busy, but multiply it times 4, and you can see that our cup runneth over. Matter of fact, when Chief Barnes briefed me for a couple hours in July of '77, I said, well, I'm not sure I want the job. You know, where do you start? Where do you start with this? So fortunately, we had a great chief of staff, General Dave Jones, and we began a program of educating, opened centers for treating alcohol and drug abuse. We opened 70 airmen leadership schools throughout the Air Force, We beefed up the senior academy down at Gunner. We had race relation training programs. We worked the women into career fields they'd never been in before, like maintenance, security forces, etc. And those issues are not something you can work in a day or two. They take time. And it takes considerable education. So it was very challenging and very rewarding. And you know something else, you don't realize what you've accomplished till you look back at it. While you're doing it, you don't every day pat yourself on the back and say, hey, look what we just did. But I look back now during that era, and I'd say that those serving at that time, and there were 465,000 enlisted men and women. And those serving at that time, the McCoys and the Bennekers and the parishes and what have you, did a marvelous job of working the issues. And I would challenge you to do the same thing with the issues you face today. So that when your time comes to sit up on the stage in 2042, you can say, I remember back in 2012, some of the issues that we faced. And the young airmen will sit out there and say, oh,
From number 5 to number 15, Chief McKinley.
Well, it's always hard to follow Chief Gaylor, but where our office of the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force set in the Pentagon on the 4th floor, at any given time I could look out my window and I could see Arlington Cemetery. And any day, you pick a day, and I could see some great American being buried in Arlington Cemetery. And that always, had a profound effect on me, that the most important thing and most challenging thing that was ahead of me was to organize, train, and equip our airmen to make sure that they return home safely. Because every minute and every second of my tenure, we were fighting 2 wars. So that's the most challenging thing, I think, for many of us, is to make sure that our airmen are safe.
Thank you, Chief. We're ready for our next question.
Good morning. I'm Major Kelly Posey from Westover Air Reserve Base. I am prior enlisted, 16 years, and I'd like to address this question to Chief Campanelli because I'm honored to have your coin, and it's actually in my wallet right now. I also asked this question to Chief Roy yesterday. I'm noticing that there's a trend, and I know it's not the appropriate thing, but I'd like your thoughts on it. There's a trend toward calling senior master sergeants senior versus sergeant. So I'm wondering what your thoughts are.
I'm going to reflect back a little bit. I know that sometimes in my household, my bride will say, sweetie, and I don't pay attention. And then she'll say, David, and I still might not pay attention. But she'll call me chief, and I will quickly respond. She says sometimes that I think you love the Air Force more than you love me, and I agree with her. But tell her that if it's any consolation, I love her more than the Army and the Navy. And the Coast Guard. I think that sometime we have a professional respect for one another as we work each and every day. And oftentimes the relationship kind of becomes more of a personal respect for one another. And so sometimes when people are called by a certain title or a name, the good news is they are called, and I really don't have a problem with anything. I think mature adults kind of work that out and work through that. I actually have a few folks that were in the Air Force that now work for me, and in business meetings they always call me chief all the time. And I ask them, please just call me Dave or boss or your lordship or something. Not that. And so I really don't have a problem with what the trend is. I think people work that out amongst themselves, and it's As long as it's professionally thought out and well done, it's okay.
Thank you, Chief.